Can I have your attention, please? Before we continue with our program, I would like to have us all thank the staff for a very nice dinner tonight. And I'd also like to thank, in particular, the staff of the Virginia State Golf Association, who have done a tremendous job in putting this event on. Jamie Conkling and Matt Smiley and the whole crew have done a fabulous job, and we really appreciate it. To guide us through our ceremony tonight, we're very fortunate to have Terry Gannon as our Master of Ceremonies. As you know, Terry is an accomplished sports broadcaster with tremendous experience in golf. Terry joined the Golf Channel in 2010 and serves as play-by-play host for the network's PGA Tour and LPGA Tour tournament coverage. Prior to joining Golf Channel, he worked as a sports commentator for ABC Sports and ESPN, covering golf, the NBA, NCAA football and basketball, horse racing, track and field, skiing, World Cup soccer, and the WNBA. He's fairly versatile. Speaking of NCAA basketball, Terry was a member of the North Carolina State's 1983 National Championship basketball team, Jim Valvano's team, and they were just recognized yesterday at the White House. So I'm sure Terry will regale us with some information about what it's like to go to the White House. So please join me in welcoming Terry Gannon.
I know, I'm in enemy territory, I understand. All those trips up here that, actually, it's very nice to come up here and not have Ralph Sampson kick my ass for one time. So it's good. It's good to make this trip. Curtis, we got him back, though, in the ACC tournament and then the NCAA tournament. Thank you, Gib. It's an honor to be here. I tell you, the White House yesterday, for a kid from Joliet, Illinois, to make it to the White House, just 33 years after the national championship. That is government efficiency at its best. All the way. And just to give you a little insight, here's the reason we didn't go in 1983. NC State wouldn't pay for the bus fare or the hotel. And a TV station wanted to pick up the bill, and the NCAA said that it would be a violation of NCAA policy. So you had 14 kids not able to go to the White House. All these kids getting paid millions today, right? Finally made it, though, 33 years later, and maybe even, more memorable 33 years later at this point in my life. I did play for NC State back then and played for a gentleman named Jim Valvano. And yeah, definitely. Little insight into the White House trip yesterday. Obama actually acted out that final scene with Valvano running around looking for someone to hug, which was pretty cool. And the president knew everything. He really did. No matter what side of the aisle you're on, whether you voted for him or not, whether you back him or not, he's a basketball fan. He's a sports fan. He's a golf fan, big golf fan. We talked a little golf, and Butch Harmon taught him a few things out there earlier in the year. But he knew everything about 1983. He had seen our 30 for 30. I don't know how many people saw that. I only lied 4 times in that, to stretch the truth. That's all. But he knew all about Jim Valvano, who was the funniest guy I've ever been around. To play for him was surreal because even during games, he would crack you up. I remember playing North Carolina one time, and they had this guy named Michael Jordan, thank you. Michael Jordan, that was his name. And I came out of the game for a while. I'm sitting on the bench, and off goes Michael. 15, 20, 25. Nobody can stop the guy. And, of course, Jim Valvano would never sit down. And if he sat down, he wouldn't shut up. So it was a running commentary the whole time. Who can stop this guy? Can't anybody stop this guy? Looked at the bench like it's our fault. We're on the bench. Can't anybody stop? Who can stop? So I raised my hand. I said, put me in, I'll stop him. And without missing a beat, he turned to me and said, Terry, that's Michael Jordan, not Hamilton Jordan. Sit down. And that was the end of my pipe dream. But I played for him for 4 years, which was an unbelievable experience. Learned more from him about life than basketball. And it set me up for what I'm doing now. And I never could have envisioned doing what I'm doing now, working with guys like Curtis Strange. Certainly I didn't think about that, Curtis. At the same time, I was going to coach. My dad was a coach. I was an assistant coach for Jim Valvano. But at the same time, 3 things came together at the end of my playing career. I got an offer to go play professionally in Italy. I was an assistant coach, which is what I wanted to do. And I got an offer to go into television. Jefferson Pilot and Raycom, many of you know, who air the ACC basketball games. So I didn't know what to do. So I went in, I said, V, I got to come see you. I got to figure out what I want to do with my life. He said, okay, come on in tomorrow. I'm in tomorrow morning, come in the office. Okay. So all night, I couldn't sleep. You know, I'm worried about it. I'm thinking I'm going to go in, we're going to hash it out, maybe be in there for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, thinking about what the heck I'm going to do. I go in the next morning, he's on the phone. So I walk in, sit down. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 50. He could talk, that man, right? Finally, he says, Terry, what do you want? I said, I'm here to talk about my life, what I'm going to do with my life. This is very important to me. Hey, hold on 1 second. Okay, go. I said, well, you know, I got this offer to go play in Italy. I got a chance to play professional basketball. I think maybe I really want to do that. He said, Terry, you're short, you're slow, you're white, and you can't jump. Who the hell are you going to be, Walt Frazier? Get on with your life. I said, oh, well, that kind of takes care of that, doesn't it? Yeah. So, well, you know, I got this offer to go into TV, so go do it. If it doesn't work out or you suck, you come back, you be a coach. I got a job for you. I said, well, is that it? Yeah, that's it. All right, here we go. Took 30 seconds, and my life was figured out. So off I went into the wonderful world of broadcasting and started to work all those. Thank you for listing all those. That sounds pretty good, Gib. And eventually in 1997, started working golf. Who else started to play professionally on the PGA Tour in 1997? Tiger Woods. For some reason, his debut got more play in the media than mine. Still bitter about that. But from that point forward, I got a chance to work all the great events. The Open Championship, the British Open so many times, and now with NBC, I go to the Players tomorrow, work with great people throughout. Yeah, that more than anything, it has replaced being on a team for me, being a part of a group that works hard to make a broadcast work, and at the end of the weekend, if it does, you walk away with the same feeling that you walk away from the court with a win, and it's special. One of the first guys I worked with, though, and many in this room knew him well, Bob Rosberg. So we go work the Women's British Open at Sunningdale, which is right outside of London, an old, proper English club, the kind of place where you're buttoned up, the hat never is on inside. That would be a cardinal sin, and it's a highfalutin place. And the night before, Rossi was holding court at the bar, and it was one story after another, all about Sunningdale. And in 1968, this happened here, and in 1972, this happened here. Great stories. So the next day, we're on the air, and we're on Rossi's group. He's obviously an on-course walker, famous for ball going into the woods, throwing it down to Rossi, and Rossi saying, he's got no shot. Right. So we're on his group. I figure I'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Second shot, boom, 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 out to Rossi. And Rossi, I know you've got some great stories about this great old club, Sunningdale. There's a beat, and Rossi says, actually, Terry, this is the first time I've ever been here. Now, this is on the air. It's tough to get that back. I look at Judy Rankin. Judy Rankin looks at me, raises her eyebrows, no chance. I said, Rossi, on the air, you had some great stories last night. He said, yeah, Yippee told me all those. Now I have to explain who Yippee is, who is Judy Rankin's husband. And again, I look at Judy. Judy looks at me. I'm not coming in, not helping. It wasn't the best segment in golf history. So at the end of the day, I'm driving the cart back to the compound. Rossi's already in his car, pulling out. Pulls up, rolls down the window, looks at me and says, I really screwed you today, didn't I, kid? Off he went, and that was it. Unfortunately, Rossi passed away a couple of years ago, and everybody in golf misses him. It's special to be here, though. Tonight, I appreciate the invitation to be a part of this. We're going to move things along, because I know it's a little bit warm. We'll follow the Franklin Roosevelt Abe Lincoln, Gib, rule of speaking. Be brief, be sincere, be seated. And I'll try to do that as much as possible tonight. I'm also the technical man up here working the screens. This is a beautiful stage, isn't it, that they set up here tonight? From the White House to this place, which is even older and has at least as much history. Different kind, but at least as much. And what a beautiful place it is. The Omni Homestead Resort, friend of the VSGA and golf in the Commonwealth of Virginia, which has hosted more than 100 VSGA championships, along with USGA and NCAA championship events. A very special, special place. And the Virginia Golf Hall of Fame began forming in the fall of 2014 with the naming of a 9-person selection committee representing a cross-section of Virginia golf and Virginia golfers. Additionally, a little bit about this place and what's taking place tonight, 3 individuals were invited and agreed to fill advisory non-voting roles. It was decided that each member of the first class would be required to gain 7 votes for selection, and a number of meetings, committee members discussed the careers and accomplishments of individuals that put forward nominees. And that's how we got here tonight with the nominees and eventually the first class, very special inaugural class, being inducted tonight. Eventually, the committee settled on those 6 individuals and all received unanimous approval. That means everyone agreed, Curtis, so you know. 8 of the 9 committee members are here tonight, and I'll introduce them individually and ask each to stand and remain standing until all have been introduced. Please hold your applause, by the way, until all have been introduced. Mr. Gib Palmer, please stand. Meg Gilmer, David King, Booty McGurn, Paul McCallion, Bill Millsaps, David Partridge, Don Ryder, Jamie Conkling, Dick Johns, and Matt Smiley. Congratulations to you all, and thank all of you. We are at that point, social media-wise, I guess you could say. I'm not quite caught up yet. I am on Twitter, but I don't have a Twitter handle. Well, it's actually, my Twitter handle, by the way, is my first dog and my mother's maiden name. Shooter McCanna, if anybody's interested, but I don't tweet. I just check Twitter. We're pleased to launch the virtual Virginia Golf Hall of Fame website, a place you can visit from any place in the world, all around the globe, without having to take a step. And the Virginia Golf Hall of Fame is housed inside this lovely building. Don't look for it in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, because our hall is a virtual site that people can access from anywhere in the world, any time of the day or night, any device that connects to the internet. The Virginia Golf Hall of Fame would like to recognize and thank Kenmont Group, the company that built the website, and that's the homepage right now. So go home tonight, check it out. In a moment, you'll be moved to the page where the members of this first inaugural class of the Hall of Fame are shown. The Virginia Golf Hall of Fame, recognizing excellence, honoring heritage, the tagline that works, where you can learn about the greatest contributors to golf in Virginia, beginning with the inaugural class of 2016. We about ready? And the first thing that you'll see are pictures of the 6 inductees. We'll introduce each of them to you. You'll find more information on each inductee in the booklet at your tables this evening. And if you haven't already done so, look through them, because They are already autographed. About an hour and a half, 2-hour process this morning, right, Clyde? Yep. In the bullpen warming up because the arm got tired. So all of the members already signed them tonight. You won't have to stand in line afterward for an autograph. You can take that home with you. Two of our inductees were posthumous selections, and one of these, Chandler Harper. The 1950 PGA champion, Ben Hogan, called Harper the best putter I ever saw. Harper, a lifelong resident of Portsmouth, at 16 won the first of his 3 Virginia State Golf Association amateurs, and at 18 he won the first of his 11 Virginia Opens. 1973 inductee in the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame, and a 1968 inductee into the PGA Hall of Fame. His friend and fellow Hall of Famer Sam Snead said Harper, quote, could get it up and down from inside a shoebox. Upon the death of Tom Strange, Harper became coach and mentor to a 14-year-old named Curtis Strange. Curtis, if you would now come up here to accept Mr. Harper's Hall of Fame medal and certificate on behalf of the Harper family. The Virginia Golf Hall of Fame is proud to induct Chandler Harper as a member of its inaugural class in recognition of many years of excellence and outstanding contributions to the game of golf in Virginia and beyond, presented on this 10th day of May, 2016. Curtis?
Thank you, Terry. I want to open this to see what it looks like. And I know Mr. Harper would be proud. It is my honor to accept on behalf of the Harper family. It's my honor to accept as a friend of Mr. Harper. I go back a little ways when I was a kid growing up. I didn't like Mr. Harper very much at first. He beat my dad way too many times in state tournaments. I later found out that he beat a lot of people a lot of times in state tournaments. 11-time state open champion, 3-time VSGA, a winner at 16 years old, back when it was unheard of. He was phenomenal. I got to know him after my dad passed. He took me under his wing. He supported me, he tutored me, and he gave me the freedom to be me. He appreciated my spirit for the game because he had plenty in himself. He was as I learned later on throughout the years, he was really the patriarch of Virginia golf. As Sam was on tour and away so much, Chandler was it. I love the fact tonight that he's being remembered for what he meant for the game in the state of Virginia and all of his accomplishments. And I think my last comment tonight is that he's up there smiling down tonight. He's played 18 holes. He's chipped in on somebody, you know that. He's won his $2 Nassau, and he's pleased that he's going with his old buddy Sam for the first class of the Virginia State Golf Association. Thank you very much.
You know, as we gather tonight, it just strikes me because I have worked a lot of sports, and I've yet to work a sport where the people, the contemporary athletes, the stars of today, know and appreciate the history and the stars of yesterday better than golf. And I see it every day on the PGA Tour. When you talk to the Jordan Spieths and the Ricky Fowlers, Bubba, I mean, I've had conversations with the greats. I remember standing in the clubhouse in one spot, and there was a whole group of golfers, like 10 guys, in a hallway, gathered around. And then I saw one was trying a certain stance and another a grip and looking. And I looked up and I realized they were looking at pictures of our next inductee. The other posthumous inductee, one of the greatest players to Evergrippa Golf Club, Samuel Jackson Sneed of Hot Springs, Virginia. Sam Sneed won 7 major championships and was the oldest PGA Tour winner at 52 when he took the 1965 Greater Greensboro Open. He won that a few times, by the way. He was also the oldest player at the age of 61 to make a cut in the U.S. Open. 61. In 1950, he won 11 PGA tournaments and captured 10% of all the purse money available on the tour that year. Think about that. All right, now every week, they play for $6 million plus at least. This week at the Players' Championship, it's over $8 million, the purse. Over $1 million every week to the winner. He had 10% of the purse money that year. Imagine what that would represent in 2016. Before he was done playing tournament golf, Sam Sneed won 82 official events, a record that has withstood the challenges of many great players, including one named Eldrick. And accepting tonight for Mr. Sneed is his son, Jackie. The Virginia Golf Hall of Fame is proud to induct Sam Sneed as a member of its inaugural class in recognition of many years of excellence and outstanding contributions to the game of golf in Virginia and beyond, presented on this 10th day of May, 2016. Jackie.
It's an honor to be here. I made some notes. Try to time this thing where it's not going to be long. I'd like to thank Mr. Palmer and the Virginia Golf Hall of Fame and the Omni Homestead for bestowing this honor on my father. And congratulations to Curtis and Lanny and Vinny and Mr. Luther and the family of Chandler Harper. If Dad were here this evening, I feel sure he would be very proud and also be very entertaining, probably, if you know him. Dad loved this wonderful old hotel here in Hot Springs and the people that live here. He enjoyed helping people in the practice tee. I'm up at the course here. I know a lot of the Homestead guests would be up there hitting balls and whatever, and Dad would amble over to them. They couldn't kind of believe he was coming to help them, but they enjoyed it, and he always probably did a pretty good job with them. Let me put my glasses on here. I get a little upset sometimes thinking about him. He and I were really, really close. He was here a lot with his dog Meister. I can see Meister yet lying on his golf cart up there at the practice tee, and JC's up there, and so forth and so on. And it's just brings back so many memories. Dad turned pro here in 1934. And after the crash in 1929, they didn't have a pro at the Cascades at that time until 34. And when Dad turned pro, they moved him down there. And in August of that year, he shot 61 3 times in 1 week. And one of the rounds, he had all threes on the back 9. And he was sending his scorecard up to his boss, the head pro's name was Freddie Glimes, hoping that Freddie would maybe get him a little raise or something. But Freddie was heard to say that he'd created a monster with Sneed down there playing so well. But anyway, I'd like to say something else. At the age of 71, my dad tied JC's course record at the lower and shot 60. And that day, there's a man here, and I want to stand up here in a minute, that played with him. And his name is Basil Fry. His son is the pro at the Cascades, Mark. Anyway, they got up on the tee, and Dad asked Basil, he said, what's your handicap? And Basil said, 3. Dad said, well, that's mine too. He said, we'll just play. and that's the truth. And Dad, through the first 16 holes, he was 12 under par. In par 17 and 18, and on the 7th hole, according to Basil, it's a par 5 dogleg right over a pond. Dad hit his second shot in the bunker, and he usually gets up and down pretty often, but he ended up making par. But obviously, if he'd have birdied that hole, it'd have been a 59. But anyway, I was real proud, and I'll always remember that. You've heard some of Dad's stats. I have a thing here from the USGA. It's a book they did on my father. They do this with a lot of players. They have you up at Far Hills, New Jersey, and they go through this question-answer thing for, sometimes it can be 2 days. And they even record when you go like that or whatever. It's verbatim what you say. And one of the things that said, they said, the question, what would you say your greatest thrill was in the golf through the years? And Dad said the winning of the 1940 PGA Championship. He said that was my first major, and it was a match play against Jim Ternisa. He was in the Army. And Dad went in the Navy the next week. The second thing, he said, what would you say your legacy is to the game of golf? And Dad said, I just hope that they'll just remember me as a fair player. I played to the line, and I expected everybody else to play to the line. I gave nothing, and I didn't expect anything. That's the way I played. I remember